Hey everybody, didn't think I would leave you with no video tonight, right? We're getting into the big storm we've been talking about for about 10 days now. Everything looks to be coming in line, kind of what we've been talking about. I'm going to highlight primarily the storm, and then I'm going to show you that this is an active pattern, and I think we've got a couple more storms down the road, and I'll show you something to kind of back that up in a little bit. I want to start by showing you that the entire area is under a flood watch. This is in effect now through Thursday evening. All the precip will be over by Thursday night early. But the ground is frozen and there's going to be some heavy rain, and we've already had snow and ice melting. The rivers and streams are up, so there's going to be problems. If you live in flood prone areas, there's going to be some issues if you're near the rivers. Also, some of these low-lying areas, the roads, there's going to be water across roads, so just be careful. We are going to run into some problems with that, and here's why. This is our in-house model forecast on rainfall total, and a lot of the area is looking at more than 2 inches of rain. In some cases to the south, we're even showing as much as 3+. So this is basically a month's worth of rain in February in a 24-hour period on a frozen ground with melting snow and ice. Obviously, there's going to be some trouble. So, just take that into account. If your area is flood prone or you travel on roads that a lot of times will have water across them, this is going to be an issue as we head through the day Thursday into Thursday night. Another problem is Thursday night's going to get cold, so where there is some of this water, it's going to freeze on the roadways for Thursday night and into Friday morning. Now, we do have a winter weather advisory, basically the northwestern, about 1/2 of the area. There's not going to be a huge amount of winter precip, but there'll be enough that there'll be some problems with some slick roads. So again, this is not a huge snowstorm. It's not like the one we had a couple weeks ago, but we've always thought this would be primarily rain with a mix to snow at the end, and that's probably going to be the case, and we'll show you some numbers on that here in just a little bit. I'm going to show you the models as I always do. I'm going to include the 4th model now because this storm is getting close to us, what we call the NAM model. It's a little closer, it's a little more high resolution, so a little more detail, and I'm going to zoom in on some of these as well. So we're going to start first of all with the European, and this is for Thursday morning around 7 a.m. It's obviously already raining here. The next thing I'm going to show you on all these models is about the time it transitions. They're all pretty consistent. On the European, it looks like around 3 to 4 p.m. We start to see the transition in the north and advancing south. If you're in Vincennes and Washington, we're still rain, but you're up near Paris and Rockville. By 4 o'clock, you're probably getting into that transition period, that winter mix. And then the models are pretty consistent, ending at around midnight to 3-4 a.m. This is the European at about 4 a.m. on Friday morning, so it's all out of here. This is the GFS, same time, 7 a.m. Thursday, clearly all rain in this area. 4 p.m., see how consistent that is, transitioning from about I-70 to the north, still rain in the south, so around 3 to 4, we start to see that transition working down towards the interstate. And this is around 1 a.m., midnight to 1 a.m. Thursday night, pretty much winding down, just some light snow and flurries will be left over. This is the Canadian. Now, if you've been watching these videos, you know the Canadian for a while was biased, pushing everything too far south. It's come in line with everything else now. So this is 7A Thursday, clearly all rain. 4P, it looks just like the other models. We're transitioning over I-70 north and then over by about midnight or so on Thursday night. So those models are all pretty consistent. Let's throw in the NAM since we're close now. 7A Thursday, all rain. 4P Thursday, transitioning near I-70 and north, maybe slightly slower, and then over by around midnight to 1-2 a.m. on Friday morning. They're all very consistent on rain in the morning, transitioning in the early to mid-afternoon, working southeast, and then ending by midnight-ish on Thursday night. So very consistent on the tracks, very consistent on the timing with all of those models. So how do they look on snow? They're also pretty close. This is the European total snow. As you can see, most of this area would be under 2 inches. Matter of fact, the southern areas would be not even 1/2 of an inch to an inch. And you'd have to go up near, say, Champaign, Danville, Interstate 74 before you start getting into 4 inches or more. So again, not a ton of snow. This is the GFS, kind of the same idea. It does have a band of heavy snow not far from us, just north and northwest of our area. But most of our area is under an inch, 1.5 inches until you get to the far northwest, where there's, 3, 4, 5 inches. But again, that's pretty far northwest. The Canadian, very much the same. It doesn't have as much snow in that band northwest of here, but locally it's about the same. Most of us under a couple of inches, and actually under an inch for a lot of the area, and 2 or 3 inches in the northwest. This is the national blend, and I talk about this one. It tends to be a pretty good idea. Most of this area is under an inch, and then you do have a quick step up to some heavier snows, but again, those are just northwest of here. So if you have travel plans, say Peoria or Danville, Champaign, Lafayette, South Bend, places like that, there will be considerably more snow and some ice up there as well. So even though we're going to see some transition over here, it definitely looks like the heavier snows will stay north and northwest of this area. And this is the national blend. Sorry, the other one was the NAM. This is the national blend, but it's the same general idea. 3 and 4 inches to the northwest and under a couple of inches for everybody, and probably not even an inch in a lot of places. So kind of the same idea. This is our in-house model that we use here, and again, it backs up everything we just looked at. Basically, I-70-ish and southeast, under an inch. You get near Paris, Mattoon, inch and a half maybe, and you got to go all the way to Danville, Champaign to get into the 4 and 5 inch snows. So again, some, but it does not look like a lot. I want to stress though, it doesn't take a lot of snow or ice to cause some slick roads. So even though we're not talking about getting snowed in and all that, there'll be some slick areas because of this. We're looking at the European now on freezing rain. We do think there'll be a transition period in there when we go from the rain to the sleet, freezing rain, then change to snow. But right now we're thinking most of the area, not a big issue. The far northern areas, northwest, might be up to a couple tenths of an inch. This is the GFS. Again, most of the area not looking at a huge amount of ice. And this is the Canadian. You get the idea. They're all kind of in the same areas. Our northwestern counties with a little more on the ice. And this is the NAM model. It's got a tenth of an inch, give or take. So in-house model on ice, it's going to back that up. Southern areas, minor. I-70 north, 1 to 2 tenths of an inch possibly, maybe a little bit more when you get up towards Paris, but I think that 3,200ths in Paris is a little high. But, a couple tenths of an inch of ice will be possible in some of those northern and northwestern areas. How about sleet? Not a real big deal. This is European, very little. This is GFS, not really much in our area. This is the Canadian, again, not much in the way of sleet. The only exception is the NAM. It does crank out a pretty heavy band of sleet north of I-70, but none of the others do, so I don't think we're looking at a huge amount of sleet out of this system. There will be wind as well. I wanted to show you a couple maps on the wind. This is basically around midnight, Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. We have a lot of wind gusts. You can see that front. Boy, look at that front pushing in from the northwest, where we go from a lot of southerly winds to northerly winds. This is now when the storm would be peaking in this area around 4 p.m. on Thursday. And a lot of winds down in Kentucky and along the Ohio River could be 50 to 55, 60 miles per hour. Those are not forecast here, but it's going to be windy. You can see wind gusts here still in the 40, 45 mile per hour range. Those will be north winds bringing in the colder air. So here's the way the forecast shakes out for the area then. So Thursday we'll start with rain, falling temperatures, wintry mixed to some snow. Again, you saw the numbers, not huge. Cold behind that, 27 high Saturday, that's it. But we go to 54 on Sunday, and we're in the 50s next week. But then notice another storm where we see the warm weather and the cold weather. So I want to end by talking about that. We basically highlighted this storm. On this map, we're looking at what's called the heights of the atmosphere. Basically, the blue indicates the low pressure. This is now. Notice where that low pressure is. This is now. I want to show you this. This is Feb 23. Get the idea? Another storm about Feb 23, 24 comes out of the southwest, heads this way, and we're not done. This is around February 27th. Another one. So this active weather pattern is going to continue, probably 2 more storms before we end the month. Chances are that last storm on the 27th, 28th of Feb will usher in some cold air to start the month of March, but we should calm down on the weather pattern with the colder start to the month of March. But anyway, that's the way things look for the storm. Pretty much over by Thursday night. Primarily mostly rain, but there will be some winter precip on the backside before it all ends. And then a quick shot of some cold air behind that on Friday, Saturday. But you saw Sunday warming right back up.